Man, we made it to episode 6. I don't know what to tell you because I was assuming that maybe me and Michael would have jump started this for 1 or 2 episodes and then got tired of it and went right back to doing whatever we've been doing. But no, we are here for episode 6 of the Nation80 podcast. I still want to say comics, but I'm doing my damnedest not to. I am here with my partner in crime, Mike. Mike, what's going on? How you doing today?
What's going on, Rodney? I'm doing well. Yes, we are here for episode 6 of the Nation80 podcast. I was just looking at the last video and the outro that I did, and sure enough, I said Nation80 Comics. But yes, the Nation80 podcast is back for episode 6. I totally agree with you. I wasn't sure how this was going to go, and given our track record since we were kids, we always start something cool. And I just thought of that RC car.
I was going to say the same thing.
The RC car that we, used our blood, sweat, and tears to earn over the summer. From mowing lawns and sweeping your dad's, or me sweeping your dad's while you guys are working on cars and stuff at your dad's garage, his auto shop. And we finally got that RC car, and it wasn't what we thought it was. We had to, it was a pro kit, had the slick, NASCAR wheels on there. It had a legit motor, but it came with a body that was clear that you had to paint yourself, and you had to put everything together. And I don't even think we had a remote.
No, you because they were so top of the line, you had to go buy your own remote for it. So
I think we painted it silver because that was the only spray paint that we could find.
Yeah,
and it just did not turn out well for us. We had grand plans, man. We were going to build a racetrack, and all this other stuff, and it did not work out well for us.
Yep, absolutely. So just like on cue, my dog decides to bark. So Mike, let's go ahead, and while we are going through this, just give us some show announcements real quick.
Yeah, man. So we had just been talking about the Book of Boba Fett. Today is actually the last episode of that season. Haven't seen it yet, but I definitely want to. Also, for HBO Max, Peacemakers last episode came out yesterday. I haven't seen that yet. I want to. I've been reading a lot of articles. Everybody's saying it's very dramatic, which I guess they've been building up to. I'm just assuming that a bunch of people are going to die or get taken over by the butterflies. So we had those two. We also got, as far as the lineup goes, we also got Nintendo Direct coming out this week. They came out with a lot of games, a lot of game announcements.
Absolutely,
this week for Nintendo Direct. So I'll be talking about that. Got Jurassic Park. Got the trailer for that dropped this week. And then there is some teaser footage for some of the DC movies that also dropped this week. And so pretty excited to talk about those things.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we'll do is we'll start off with Nintendo Direct, because I think even though DC kind of threw out a quick little banger today, we'll give that the time it deserves a little later on. But Nintendo Direct went through quite a few things today, and so we're going to talk about some of the key things that came out of Nintendo Direct. Nintendo Direct is almost equivalent to like your E3, let's say your Tokyo Game Show. There's a couple different gaming convention. I won't even call it convention, but it's like an event where they're just going to tell you about the new stuff coming out. And so some of the things that they mentioned in this event is we are going to get Wii Sports back. It's coming to the Nintendo Switch, but now it's going to be called Nintendo Switch Sports, where you can play games like tennis, bowling, and more. And it's going to be released on April 29th, 2022. Some of the disappointing news we got is that we are not getting a new Mario Kart. I'm so sorry, but we're not. We're going to get a DLC with 48 new racetracks planned for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, right? I haven't seen people this deflated until we heard a couple years ago the rumor that another GTA was coming out, and it never came out. And so literally, I think like this week or late last week, there was an announcement that GTA 6 is coming, but still, you know how that goes. You've been waiting forever, and it still hasn't came through. So a few other ones, we're getting Fire Emblem. We're getting a Mario Strikers Battle League game, a 5-on-5 soccer game. A new trailer for Splatoon 3 debuted. We have SD Gundam Alliance. I love me some Gundam. We have Star Wars: The Force Unleashed and Assassin's Creed Ezio collection come out later this year. Kirby and the Forgotten Land, a new trailer for that just dropped as well. The Kingdom Hearts game, which has always been on Nintendo, is coming. Well, I won't say always on Nintendo, but it's coming out. We also has the PS1 and PS2 Clona games are coming to Nintendo Switch. I'm not familiar with them, but I think that's a big deal for those who love those type of games. A new DLC for Cuphead. I've been meaning to play that game. It looks so fun. A free update for some new modes in the coming Metroid Dread. And we also received a video conference announcement of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I played 2. I really love 2, even though I got stuck. Oh, and one thing that I think Michael talked about before, and now we're definitely got some confirmation. For the first time on the Nintendo consoles, the MLB The Show 22 will be out for the Nintendo Switch. You
Mm-hmm.
can even play using the Joy-Cons.
Mm-hmm.
So very exciting announcements. Mike, what do you think about what Nintendo is doing at the moment? Any highs, any lows, anything of that nature?
Yeah, so yeah, they announced the direct was like 40 minutes long, and they announced a ton of games. And the ones that you mentioned were pretty much the big ones that they announced. Um, Xenoblade, I've never played Xenoblade, but I've heard it's really good. Uh I'm Kirby, I don't think I'll ever play on their Splatoon. I've always wanted to play. I think that would be a good game family wise to play with the kids.
Yeah, it's a good
So
multiplayer game from my understanding. I've never played it either.
yeah, so I'm want to check that out eventually. The Wii Sports, I'm actually excited about that. So they showed off, bowling and tennis, badminton, volleyball, and then I think like a little kind of like a little soccer thing. And then I guess towards the end of the year, they're going to, or I guess not the end of the year, but later this year, they're going to have golf for the Wii Sports, and I think that's pretty cool. Um, I think what I have been pretty much seeing is that yes, they are simple games, but they're fun games, and Nintendo's going to sell a ton of these games. And so I mean, I've heard 20 million copies for the Wii Sports, and I can get with that. I mean, I think that's something that can be enjoyed with the family, And I actually kind of had like as far as doing that, like because you could do it online, so that means your family and my family can in on this and have a volleyball tournament or a bowling tournament.
Hmm.
Like, hey, we can't go bowling because you're all the way out on an island and I'm on the mainland. Let's do it virtually. That would
Yeah.
be pretty cool. Um, Mario Strikers, I've never played this. Okay. But from what I hear, this was a pretty big announcement and the trailer looked pretty legit. And so I kind of, want to see what that's all about, especially if you're can use your Joy Cons. Like they're talking about putting Joy-Con on your leg and everything like that. And um, I'm kind of excited for that one.
So I've
No,
only seen the articles, so I didn't see the trailer. So I'm curious of how that Joy-Con works in Wii Sports capacity or Nintendo Switch Sports
so I
capacity.
I think at least as far as the running, it's kind of like that Switch physical fitness game where you train or whatever, where it comes with the wheel and you squeeze the wheel, whatever, and you put one on your leg
Hmm.
and you kind of jog in place. I don't know how the kicking is supposed to work, but it's an interesting thing. Nintendo's always been this company, they've never had the best hardware, but they've had great software.
They always
And
innovate very well.
yeah, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like when it comes out. No Man's Sky, that's another one that I'm really interested in. It's a game that's been out for a minute, especially for PC. Uh, I know it's on Steam, and I've always wanted to check it out. But to get it on the Switch is going to be huge. I think that's going to be awesome. Disappointments, yeah, of course, Mario Kart. But to be honest, I haven't played Mario Kart in years. It's not a really big deal to me.
Hmm.
The biggest disappointment for me is Kingdom Hearts, because it's a cloud based game. So I don't understand why they can't port Kingdom Hearts over to the Switch, especially when you've got these insane ports like Crisis. If they can import Crisis, port Crisis over to the Switch, they can port Kingdom Hearts to the Switch. All right. So why are we getting a cloud-based game? So I don't know if that's like a contractual IP thing or whatever. But that was pretty disappointing. I'm not going to play Kingdom Hearts online just over, that to me is kind of the whole point with the Switch. Like, you're supposed to be able to take it with you anywhere. And if I have to have a Wi-Fi connection just to play, and for what I hear, because you mentioned earlier, Kingdom Hearts has been out. Okay, this is just like a deluxe edition. All right.
Mhm.
So I don't know. That to me was a huge disappointment. Metroid Dread, I don't have it. I actually almost bought it recently. I just didn't want to spend the $60 on it. But it's interesting to me because they introduced like a super hard level where it's one shot, one kill.
Mm.
Okay, so it's like the super hard. Can you make it through the game without getting shot or getting hit? Because if you do, then you get killed and you got to start over. But then they introduced like a super easy mode. I think they call it like super rookie mode or something like that. And so it's like, okay. And then I can't remember what the other mode was. But I think there was another mode that was introduced with that as well. So I think overall it was pretty good. I'm kind of excited about the show coming to the Switch, but then I'm also looking at it as if things work out the way they're supposed to work out, and on the 25th of February, we're able to purchase these Steam Decks. I, I don't know. All this kind of becomes a moot point. Like,
I'm glad you said that because that was literally going to be part of my low. So let me start with my highs. My highs is that we're getting a Fire Emblem Three Houses coming in June, and we're getting Xenoblade Chronicles. I love me some Japanese RPG games.
okay,
And I do want to play MLB The Show. I don't think I want to play it on the Switch.
right.
I played NBA 2K20 on the Switch, and as much as I did like it, there was times where the game would corrupt or crash on me, and it just really took me out of that whole experience
Yeah, it's
because
just buggy. It's so
yeah, you
buggy.
would bring the game back up and it would just crash right at the same spot,
Yeah.
and you couldn't like simulate past it, and you just had to start over. And then because of that, I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. But same thing. Me and Mario Kart have been done for a while just because my kids love to play it, and I got so tired of it that I don't want to play it anymore. Cool that they got new tracks, but I guess I think my kids will be happy if I buy it for them. But and then when it comes to Wii Sports, I'm a little terrified to get something like Wii Sports, and my kids love it for the first week and then never want to play it again because it's kind of the same thing that happened with the Wii. It was so cool to see it at the beginning that after like 2 months though, you were like, it's not the same. It's almost like remember Xbox Connect, and you were first so excited to get it, and after a while, you're like, it's so much work just to get that going that like forget it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Now my lows, the big one being like you said, Mike, the Steam Deck is right around the corner. There's a lot of multiplayer games that me and you can once that dock becomes available, there's a whole bunch of multiplayer games that are going to be just as fun to get into on that. um and the other issue that I have is, as much as I love Nintendo, I hate their pricing system. They keep
Sure.
everything at almost $60,
Right.
right? Like if I wanted to play Zelda right now that first came out when the Switch was released, I guarantee you it's about $60. And then
Yeah.
if they do drop the price for it, they drop it to only 45, and then it goes right back to 60.
Right. It's
And
almost like you're better off getting the physical edition
yes,
of that
yes.
because you're
I
more likely to get that on sale or get that
mhm.
used at least.
Yes,
You
than
know.
you are to go if you had they're one of Nintendo's one of the worst that are like Sony's kind of bad for this too, but Nintendo's really bad about this. Where it's like if you got to come to our online store, we know that you want it, and we're not going to compromise the price because you want it. So even the holidays, they might drop it just a little bit, but nothing. I you know, like you know how we are, Mike. You love $20 games, you know,
Hmm.
$10 or something of that nature. Nintendo just doesn't do stuff like that. But I don't want to make this a complete bashing session about Nintendo. I'm excited for the new games that are coming out. Some of these I just wish came out on the same release date as everything else, like
Right.
Kingdom Hearts,
Right.
Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. That game's been out forever. Like, if do you really want to play it on the Switch now? If you already played it before,
Well, and not
um,
only that, I have found this out
hmm
that Star Wars Unleashed
hmm
is not the like full on Star Wars Unleashed. It's like the Nintendo. I think they said the GameCube version of that game.
oh,
It's not the
okay,
PlayStation version of the game.
mm,
So it's kind of a dumbed down version of the game. So when I heard that, I was like, well,
yeah,
because I loved it back. I loved Star Wars Unleashed or Force Unleashed back in the day.
hmm
I love that actor. I actually thought they were going to bring him back at some point for
it
the
shows.
Star Wars show. So,
hmm
um, yeah, that was a huge disappointment. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. So I mean, overall, you know, I'm always excited when new games come out because there's always just some fun new stuff that comes out that I want to play. I'm just kind of saddened because as much as these games come out, the games that you would just like for them to come down in price so that you can enjoy them, especially if you're not one of those who like to spend premium prices, they're just not going to come down. So as much as any title that has Mario in it, I already can guarantee you that's a $60 title for the next 5 years.
Right.
And so that's the heartbreaking thing about this. But you know, maybe one day they'll fix it, maybe they won't, because they know that the only place you can get Nintendo stuff is Nintendo. But we'll see as these games come out. We'll talk more about it. Maybe I'll get that DLC pass and we'll talk about it more because my kids love themselves some Mario Kart. And I hate to admit it, my daughter's got so damn good at it that she's given her old man a lot of runs for his money. I've lost a couple games to her. She's so good at it. So I'm not too mad at it. I love all the gaming she does. But let us move on to another subject. As this week has been kind of interesting when it came to releases and stuff. And one of the other things, and Mike, we'll talk about this real quick before we go to our next subject. It's now that the embargo has ended for reviews for the Steam Deck,
Oh
right?
yes, yes,
And
yes,
so, Mike, I sent you a video from Linus Tech's reviews earlier this week, where Linus,
yes,
he's a phenomenal reviewer, phenomenal
yes,
reviewer.
yes.
He went through and he kind of gave us about a 17-20 minute video about the Steam Deck and its pros and its cons and stuff like that. And it looks like, from what I've seen, unless you saw different, it's getting glowing reviews so far.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, I've looked at a few YouTubers review this, and they all seem pretty uniform in their opinion that this is going to be a game changer.
hmm
And they, even Linus was like, they gave us games that worked really well. They gave us games that didn't work really well. And I think for me, most of my library is gonna work awesome on this. I'm excited and I'm nervous because I'm like, man, once this thing comes out, it's gonna be great. I just hope I'm able to actually get this. They said if you put a reservation in, all right, you get an email on the 25th, and you got X amount of days to purchase this. I hope that's true. Okay. I don't know who's gonna. I think they said 6 days.
hmm
I don't know who's gonna wait 6 days to purchase this. It,
Nah, man. Once that email comes in, it's bought.
it's a wrap.
Yep.
So yes, I'm excited. I think he reviewed the top line one, which has like the anti glare screen on it, and then the extra
hmm
storage. Um,
What model did you get? Do you remember, Mike?
I got the middle tier one, so
hmm
I can't remember what the storage was on it, but it was higher than I think maybe it was 256 gigs.
I think that's around the same one I got too.
Yeah, so I think it goes like 128, 256, and then 500 something. I'm not sure.
512. Yep.
512, yeah.
hmm
So I went with the 256 one because they're all the same. It's really just the storage,
hmm
and then like the top of the line one has the anti-glare.
And correct me if
You
I'm
know,
wrong, you can still purchase external storage, right? Like you can get an
yes,
SD card
yeah.
and
So it
put in
does have
it.
a micro SD slot, and at least from what Linus has said, there isn't that much of a drop off. And then he even said in the video, he said even if and there's going to be a ton of breakdown videos of how to open this thing up. He said if
Hmm.
you're brave enough to do it, you could switch out that solid state for a larger one, because I think he said you could put up to 2 or 3 terabyte solid state in there.
Mm.
Which if I see a video on the teardown and it looks doable, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm in the same boat as that. But I
yeah,
will say that one of the things that should get conveyed is that if you're thinking that you're going to be playing every game at 60 frames per second, sorry, that's just not going to happen, right?
right,
And the fact is, of course, the more intensive games you play on there, of course, it's going to strike down your battery life. But like Linus said, there will be some things that where they'll try to adjust the battery life as you get this system. But I understand that. Like, I think if you think you're going to be playing Cyberpunk 2077 at ultra settings, that you're absolutely playing yourself, because that's
right,
just not
yeah, and
that's
I
not
don't think that
happening.
you need to.
No.
I mean, because the screen is small, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, do you need 60 frames per second? No, I don't think so. Do you need the ultra high graphic resolution? No. The screen's not ultra high resolution anyway. So,
Hmm.
uh, and then the cool thing too is that they said that you will be able to fully. They're going to give you the power to fully customize the settings on the graphics card that's on this
Hmm.
machine. And so, what's exciting to me is that this is a handheld PC. Okay,
Yep.
you're paying a premium price for this,
Hmm.
and you can dock it. Okay, so like for me, the perfect case scenario for this. Okay, I take this to work. I play it handheld. All right. Uh, I want to get some of the homies at work to play with me during lunch. I could dock it, put it on one of my monitors, and we're good to go. Okay. Come home, do the thing with the family, and then by the time it's ready to go to bed or just wind down and watch TV, whip it out again and play on there. So I'm super excited for it. And ergonomically, because it is big. I saw I think Linus was the one that did the comparisons. Like they did a comparison to the Switch and to like the PS Vita, or maybe it was PSP, and to some other different gaming devices. I think I saw Game Gear in there. The Sega Game Gear, they did a comparison size for that. And so yes, it's gonna be big. But from what I've seen, it looks like ergonomically it's pretty decent. As long as you're not trying to, I saw the one use case scenario where you're laying down on your side and then trying to play it. I don't play that way, so it's not a big deal for me.
Yeah, same
So
here.
I'm pretty excited for this.
You know what? One of the things that I saw in the video, and I don't know, I'm actually looking now, and now that I just confirmed, I'm even more happier. I saw that carrying case, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's smooth right there." And I was like, "I wonder, do I have to purchase that accessory separately?" And I just came onto the Steam Deck site, and so, like we both mentioned, I got the mid tier one, so you're talking about 529 for price, 256 gigabyte solid state drive. You have a carrying case, and then an exclusive Steam community profile bundle, whatever that means, right? And then the only difference is if you buy the 512 gigabyte, which is going for 650, you get the premium anti-glare etched glass, exclusive carrying case, Steam community profile bundle, and a virtual keyboard theme, whatever that means as well. But so yeah, right now I can't wait for the 25th to get that email. Or even if it's not the 25th, if I can get I wonder from the minute that you purchase to shipping how long that's going to take, you know. And so
Yeah, I think they said it's a couple of days for them to ship it out. Um, and so that's cool. Again, it's going to be depending on where you were in the queue.
Yep.
Uh, we might not get it on the 25th. It might be
Hmm.
the 26th or 27th or 28th. So and you can still make reservations now. You just won't get it till later in the year.
Yep. Like
But
second quarter 2022.
yep. So from what I've seen, they said once you put it in, it's only a couple of business days until they ship it out.
Hmm.
So man, I hope I'm so excited for this thing.
You know what? With spring break coming, I am super excited to get something like this. If I can get it before spring break, that would be perfect because then I can really take it through its paces, right?
Yes,
And I don't know when your son's spring break is, Mike, but my daughter's spring break is between the 12th to the 19th. And so after that, I think that'd be the perfect time to give our review, whether it's in podcast form or video form, of just our experiences with it on a road trip because I can tell you from my time with the Switch, as much as I like the Switch, I usually have to take from Hawaii to, let's say, California. That's a 6 hour flight. That Switch ain't gonna make it halfway of that flight,
right.
right? It's already ready to shut down. I got to get to an iPad, and I always hate that part partially too because I would really just love to take one device. I like to pack as light as possible,
Hmm.
but there's nothing worse than having to take a Switch, iPad, phone, and grab that all out of your baggage and hold that in your seat because one's going to die right after the other one after the other one.
Yeah,
So,
and that's an interesting point. So battery life is going to be complicated depending on what game you're playing and at what
mhm,
settings you're playing. Um, Battery life on the Switch is not really all that great, especially if you're on the generation one of the Switch. They came out the second generation that has a better battery life, and now you got the OLED and the Switch Lite. And I think I was looking at this today. What accessories are going to be best for the Steam Deck? And so I've been looking at wireless Bluetooth headphones, and then I'm thinking like, okay, what kind of power bank am I going to have? I'm looking at Anchor, and okay, what
mhm.
kind of am I going to get like a 50,000 milliamp hour power bank? Because I yes, for road trips and for long flights, I want to be able to sit my Steam Deck down on the tray on the airplane, play my video game, and if the battery's running low, I'm just gonna hook up the power bank to it.
So you mentioned something I didn't think about it, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. You can take a power bank on the plane. I thought those would possibly be illegal because of the battery.
I believe you can. You just can't check it, or I guess store it, or baggage claim it, I guess.
Mm,
Because it's got to be with you. And as long as I think that the issue is lithium batteries, right? Um, and so as long as it's not in storage, because if it's in storage, it's possible leak, nobody's around, that's where it becomes an issue. But as long as it's on you, and with you, it shouldn't be an issue. But because of the pandemic, I haven't flown in a few years, so I have no idea what the rules are now. But um, I can't imagine that
okay, so I
power bank.
just I just looked it up on the TSA website. Carry-on bags, it's fine. Checked-in bags, not happening.
Yeah. Okay. So that
Um,
yeah. So that makes sense. It's because of if it leaks, you can't get to it. No one can get to it, and
mhm,
that's when it becomes a fire hazard. But if it's on you, then okay, then we can do something about it. So
yeah.
um,
Well, that works
yeah.
for me. I will be expediently buying a power bank for this upcoming flight because I really enjoy to have my equipment and not having to switch in and out, in and out, in and out.
So
So
just out of curiosity, do you not own a power bank at all?
no, I was going to buy one for my Sony A3 camera back in the day and just never got around to doing it. And so I need to pull the trigger on one.
So I would tell you power banks now,
Hmm.
just real quick, power banks now, the technology has gotten so good and the prices have come down so much. When I first bought the iPhone 8 Plus, I
Hmm.
bought the 40 or $50 5,000 milliamp power bank. And it was great back then, but now it's like, well, 5,000 milliamps isn't really a lot. That's maybe 75% charge, or well, maybe one charge for an iPhone battery. Now I have a power bank that is not only MagSafe, so I should say MagSafe. It's wireless, so I can put my phone on top of it and it wirelessly charges it. But it also has USB-C power delivery, and it's a 20,000 milliamp battery, and so that's enough to charge my phone 3 or 4 times over, or just charge my iPad at least once. Um, and it's super slim, it's super convenient, and the prices come down on these power banks. So I would most certainly look into getting one if you're going to get a Steam Deck, or if you have a Nintendo Switch. Definitely get a power bank because they're so affordable now, and the charges that you get with them are the capacity is so much higher than it was when they initially came out. I mean, you could buy, I mean, they have ones. I almost bought. I've been thinking about buying like a $200 one that can literally power your house. Um,
Oh wow.
for $200. I was like, damn, for $200, all right,
Yeah, I mean, hey, you can't
that
go
might,
wrong with that. I always
yeah, that
heard
might
good
be legit.
things. I always heard good things about them. I always felt weird about it, like having a smartphone and then having that smartphone battery life just be shit. I remember back in the day when you had that Apple iPhone 3 and we
Hmm.
took our cousin down to back to his college, and your iPhone was like literally on its last legs just
Hmm.
because it was just trying to run Google Maps and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And now it's funny how technology has changed since then. So, but moving on, we have a trailer to talk about. And so I know my nephew Brandon is super excited right now because my nephew is a very big dinosaur fanatic. He loves dinosaurs. And I know he loves Jurassic Park. And so today, earlier this week, we received the trailer for the new Jurassic World Dominion. If you don't recall from the last one, which I can't remember the title, I think it was maybe Fallen Kingdom, the dinosaurs had now been released everywhere, not just on Jurassic Park, but everywhere within the world. And so this trailer moves on from there, where now it seems like these dinosaurs are becoming a nuisance because a T-Rex will pop up anywhere, a pterodactyl will snatch someone out of the air. You have all these different sea creatures in the water now, and so we don't really get the full scope of what they're trying to accomplish. But just like any Jurassic Park, it's Jurassic Park. I almost look at it the same way I look at Fast and the Furious. But I would be lying to you if I didn't say that I don't love these movies. I love
Hmm.
them for what they are. I love there's something about just watching sometimes just a mindless movie, which I think Jurassic Park movies are. And to me, it's a big what if dinosaurs were, who knows if Elon Musk doesn't have a dinosaur egg right now that he's trying to take the DNA out of and create dinosaurs. That these billionaires are coming up with something
Right,
of that
right,
to that magnitude as we speak.
right.
But going back, I'm super excited. I don't know what it is, but over the years, I've gotten cold on Chris Pratt. I don't know for what reason. Maybe because he's just like how some people say about other characters. He plays the same, no matter who he is in the movie. It's still Chris Pratt. There's no
Hmm.
change in who he is. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know what it is. But it's good to see some of the old cast back. Saw Laura Dern. I can't think of the other gentleman's name at the moment,
Yeah,
but
so Sam Neill,
Sam
he's
Neill.
back, and then of
Yep,
course Jeff Goldblum
yep. Jeff
is back in
Goldblum. Totally
there,
forgot about that. And I
and
did
then BD
see
Wong.
BD Wong, my
Yep,
boy.
yep,
I remember him from Law and Order, and now I see him in Nora from Queens.
yep.
BD Wong is that dude. So, Mike, any thoughts on the trailer?
Yeah, I mean, just like you, Elias is he's gonna lose his mind when he sees this trailer. He is a huge Jurassic Park fan, and we've been watching the Olympics, and the Olympics have had these little promos, and they end the promo with Jurassic Park coming out in, summer 2022, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I wish you would have, waited a little, longer to put that out there. Don't put it out here in February when we can't see it for another, 5 or 6 months. But and especially when you don't give us any kind of teaser trailer. Uh, but now that they came out and dropped the trailer, he's gonna be excited. Jen and I actually just watched this trailer. It looks, I mean, it looks awesome. I guess this is the last one. This is the last movie in the series. The epic conclusion to Jurassic Park.
You know how
And
things go. Nothing ever ends. So I would assume that within, let's say, 3 to 5 years, we'll get a new Jurassic Park movie. Maybe a
well,
whole new cast, new scenario.
well,
But I
and
would
I can
assume,
imagine a world where they just reboot it, right?
yeah, I can see
Um,
that too.
and they just do reimagine it. And so it looked pretty good. I mean, like you said, Jurassic Park is like Fast and the Furious. Just that I like Jurassic Park better. you know, I haven't watched Fast and the Furious in the last like 4 movies. So um, but this looks pretty good. And the fact that they brought back Sam Neill and Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum and BD Wong is pretty awesome. Um, I'm looking forward to it. I agree. Chris Pratt is kind of he's a guy who his mannerisms, his personality come out pretty much the same in every movie.
Hmm.
Um, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. And I won't even say bad. It's just sometimes it's just like I wish you could do more. Like there are some actors that can go beyond their typecast. Like you think about Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington, like Tom Hanks, has always been that guy that's walked on clouds, walked on water, has a halo over his head, and then you get a movie like Training Day. you're like, what the hell? Or even
Completely out of his element.
right, or
At least
even
that's what you
was it
thought, and then you saw it, and you're like, "Holy crap, this
or
was so good."
even was it Kings of Harlem? Um, was
Oh
it Kings
yeah, yeah.
or the King of Harlem or something like that? I
When he's
can't remember.
playing Frank Lucas, yeah, I know you're
Yeah.
talking about. Hmm.
Yeah, and there's one I just keep thinking of the one scene where he offs Idris Elba, and I'm like, "Damn, come on, Denzel." um, so like you have actors like Denzel who can, flip a switch, and you can either get the goody two shoe character, or you can get the bad guy that you love to hate. Um, but then you on the flip side of it, you get the character that's just it's the same character, the same personality every no matter what character they play, and that's Chris Pratt. And so it's fine. It works in some movies. It doesn't work in all movies. But I think regardless, this is going to be a good movie. Like you said, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. It kind of looks like dinosaurs are just free roaming the world. Um, the trailer ends with them in some kind of looks like some kind of European city, um, with the raptors, the velociraptors running around the streets, and there's a T-Rex, something going on, and yeah, I don't know. So I'm not sure where they're going with this.
Hmm.
And they started the the teaser or the trailer with the velociraptor from the previous movie, Blue. Actually, that should say for the previous movie from the one before that. So you had Jurassic World, and then, like you said, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, um, and the Velociraptor that Chris Pratt's character trained. And then they're like, "Well, we can't keep him, and well, we got to protect him, and blah 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 blah." And it's like, okay. So
It sounds like the same thing they've done for the last two movies,
right, and
where
then I want to know what's going to happen with BD Wong, because BD Wong seemingly is the ultimate villain in this
hmm
series. Um, and so I want to see what they're going to do with this. Uh, I'm I'm more excited just to see Sam Neill and Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum in it.
yeah,
I just to have them back. That's nostalgia for me. Jurassic Park started in 1993, so to see them in this movie, I think is awesome, and I hope they don't kill them off. So we'll
yeah.
see. We'll see.
Yeah, same here. We'll see. This is one of. Let me ask you, in these trying times, will you be going to the theater, or is this a at home movie for you?
Yeah, I think eventually, yeah. I mean, I can't see myself not going to the movie theater for this. I mean, we just saw the latest Spider-Man movie, and but it's not a movie we're going to see opening night. We're
Mm-hmm.
just not there yet. We're
Mm-hmm.
not there yet. Um, but will we see it in the movie theater? Yeah, probably. Uh, I don't have a problem watching in the movie theater as long as it's matinee, Sunday. And the movie theaters I go to are the ones that you can actually order a dinner for,
Mm-hmm.
um, and have a drink, and so I don't mind doing that. Uh, as long as it's not a 3-hour movie like the Batman, then yes, I will see it in the movie theaters.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. Speaking of the Batman, uh, and DC decided to pull something out their side pocket, and I don't know. It's because that Zack Snyder. I don't have it in front of me. Zack Snyder has a new movie coming out with Ray Fisher in it, and so Warner Brothers was like, "Oh, we got to put something out there," and so we got a minute long, I guess you call it teaser, trailer, whatever the hell you want to call it these days, with footage from the Batman, Black Adam, The Flash, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. All of these movies are coming out in 2022, y'all. So I'm super excited to see that. But some cool things that came out of this. I'm going to exclude the Batman because we've seen enough. And if you know my rules, and I think Michael now has this rule as well, there's no more I want to see on it. I know I'm going to go see the movie. So I try not to dig deep to find more about the Batman at this moment. I'll let whatever else come on the screen. I'm not going to lie. The Rock looked pretty cool as Black Adam. I was
Hmm.
pretty shocked.
Hmm.
And so as someone who's been kind of critical about the Black Adam movie and like, why is this even coming out? Why are we doing this? Yeah, they at least from the little pictures of so I'm not mad at it. I really enjoyed what I saw. It's too early to make a massive verdict or anything, but I'm intrigued. I want a full trailer. I don't know what's taking so long with that, but there at least from the look and the tone, I feel happy with what it looks like they're attempting to do with Black Adam. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Any
I
initial thoughts
completely
on
agree
Black
with you on
Adam,
that.
Mike?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think out of all within that minute video, all the footage that we saw, I think that Black Adam was the best stuff to see out of there. I care less about Flash. I actually, let me take that back. If I were to rank out of the 4 movies, well, we'll say 3 because, like, you're right. There's no reason to put the Batman in there. We've seen all there is to see about the Batman. It's gonna
Mhm.
be a 3-hour movie, and hopefully it's 3 hours worth watching. Um, but for Black Adam, The Flash, and then Aquaman, I'm gonna put Black Adam, Flash, and then Aquaman at the bottom. Uh,
Mhm.
I from what I saw from Aquaman, I just not excited about it. Doesn't look exciting to me. Um, the Flash, I'm interested only because of the, I guess, multiverse aspect of it, and possibly seeing the Michael Keaton version of Batman. Whether that's our 1990s Batman or if it's the Flashpoint Batman, as far as Thomas Wayne Batman. So that's interesting to me. That's the only reason am excited to see that movie. But like you said, the Black Adam one, there were so many elements to that. We got to see Hawkman. Okay.
Mhm.
We got to
I
see
was going to
Atom
get into that.
Smasher.
So hold on real quick, Mike.
Yeah.
So just like Michael mentioned, we got to see the Justice Society, and we got our first look at Hawkman, who is played by Aldous Hodge, Doctor Fate, who is played by Pierce Bronson, Cyclone, who's played by Quintessa Swindell, and Adam Smasher, who's played by Noah Centineo. Yeah. So go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. So we got to see, Hawkman. We got to see Dr. Fate. We got to see Adam Smasher. And man, it looked great. We got to see The Rock talk, and seemingly give an explanation to why he is doing what he's doing, and
Mm-hmm.
so it looks really good. I'm excited for this movie. I think it's going to be kind of like a sleeper movie. The only thing I'm disappointed about is that they showed the teaser for all 4 of these movies. None of these movies are going to tie in together.
Mm-hmm.
So why did they do that? You have Young Batman, Batman Year One. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's a separate standalone movie. You have Aquaman, and maybe Flash tied together. Um, and then you have Black Adam. So does Black Adam tie to the multiverse of Scott Snyder's universe? I mean, we already know Scott Snyder and Warner Brothers have said no. There's not going to be a Snyderverse. So I don't know. It's just I wish they had. I guess it's the way they presented it. I wish they had just said like, these are one shots.
You
You
know, that's
know,
a good point. That's a very good point because I did question that too. Like, how does this all tie
yeah.
together because of how it was packaged? And and here's the thing, like for example, this is a 60-second DC Universe spot for the Super Bowl. Um, the Batman should have probably been its own individual thing since it's coming in March. I don't think Black Adam is coming until the summertime. Flash, maybe the summertime or late into the year, and then Aquaman, who knows? But going back, when it comes to the Flash, I'm kind of intrigued with the Flash just because I wanted to see. It was kind of cool to see his new suit compared to other one. I really did not. I was not fond of the old one in the Justice League movie.
Hmm.
And this one looks a little bit like the ones I think from the new 52 Flash suit. So I want to see how that's going to play out. There's still some uncertainty there because I remember Cyborg was supposed to be in it, and then of course Ray Fisher and WB went at it. And next, of course, he got pulled from that. Um, and then where do you like a good example, Mike, like you said, is let's say the Flash and Aquaman movie somehow tie together. Well, 2 of the characters are no longer with the Justice League anyway. So,
Hmm.
you don't have the Ben Affleck Batman anymore. And you would really, really have to pay Ray Fisher 500 million to come back to a toxic environment to
Hmm.
play Cyborg again, which probably won't happen due to litigations and all the other stuff going on.
Hmm.
And then I don't know if you can just easily replace those 2. Well, I mean, I think you could probably replace Batman since there's a Batman movie coming out. I don't know how you could do it with Cyborg, but I mean, you've seen freaking Terrence Howard get changed with someone drastically different in, I don't know why his name is Don Cheadle,
Don Cheadle. Yeah.
and it worked. So maybe I don't know. When it comes to Black Adam, I hope to see a cameo of Shazam. I really do. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. But
Right.
it would be kind of cool just to see, like, something, I actually, let's go back. I'm curious of the tone for Black Adam and the Flash. And when I say that, the Black Adam seems like it's going to be a more dark, serious movie. Cool.
Hmm.
If the Flash comes off as that and not a more vibrant, colorful movie, almost like a Spider-Man movie, I'm gonna be kind of pissed because I'm really tired of DC thinking that I need everything to be so dark and mysterious, right? Like,
Right. And it wouldn't match,
no,
because that's not who the Flash is.
no, and
Black
and, and
Adam's dark and brooding. The Flash is
yes,
supposed to be like you said, like a Spider-Man type of vibe to it.
yeah, joking and all this other stuff, things of that nature. So I am a bit concerned about that. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, like you said, am I going to watch it? Absolutely. Am I excited? It is what it is. I don't have a really like a pro or a con for that one. I'm just like, let's see what they got, and they didn't really give us much. They just kind of gave us the same scenes where Aquaman dons the suit in the
Hmm.
first Aquaman. So they got to give me a little bit more. I'm curious to see where they go with Black Manta and a few other things, but I know who's directing it, and it's Mr. Fast and Furious himself, James Wan. I'm not
Hmm.
really expecting anything hardcore
Right.
when it comes to that anyway.
Right.
But overall, I'm excited because I want to see DC do well. I'm hoping the Batman movie does well. I think that they're on the right track for that. The 3 hours is a little touchy, but if you're gonna have all them characters in there, I understand to an extent. I just hope it all flows well together.
Yeah, as
Go
long
ahead,
as I
Mike.
guess if they develop the characters within that 3 hours, right?
Yep,
I mean, you
absolutely.
almost have to feel like if it's going to be 3 hours, they have to develop the characters,
Yes.
right? Like they'll just throw at us the Penguin. They'll just throw at us all these other guys. You know, give us some time to ingest and see what these characters are developing into.
Hmm.
Because
And it's quite
otherwise,
obvious they're trying to build up another universe, right? Like, why would you
yeah,
have them all in there if you're not trying to build up the Batman universe? Like, if this movie does well, let's be clear, there's going to be a trilogy, right?
oh yeah,
Uh,
for
and
sure,
let's be clear, we know who's coming, the Joker,
right.
right? Like, you have to find someone to be the Joker, and then of course, what does that mean? Now we have a third Joker because I don't feel unless I as much as I hope it's going to be Joaquin Phoenix, you just don't know if he's going to be in it. But you have the other one with Jared Leto, and then I have a weird feeling like they might try to pull out another guy to be the Joker for the Batman movies, which would make three, right? And that's going to be confusing as hell too. Um, the saving grace though might be, and let's play what if here. What if we get a Justice Society movie? I think that would be interesting, but they got to really give us something to really care about these characters, right? Because
Hmm.
we all seen, like, as much as I kind of like the Shazam movie, uh, they kind of didn't. If you were gonna, if you gave me Superman or Shazam, I would go Superman all day, right? And Shazam is cool, but I don't think he got fleshed out very well in the first one. Like, I want the second one to be still fun, but I do want a little bit more seriousness so we can see where they're trying to go with Shazam. But we'll see with that.
Yeah, DC has what DC Warner Brothers have so much stuff in the pipeline, and um, are we going to get another Joker? There's been speculation that Joaquin Phoenix's Joker might get a sequel, um, might not. There's no clear confirmation on that. And then you got our boy Tanisha Coates, who is writing the a Superman movie. Okay, but not our
I
Henry
totally
Cavill
forgot
movie.
about that. I
Yeah,
totally
it's gonna
forgot about
be
that.
it's gonna be the Black Superman movie.
Yep.
And so they got all this stuff coming out. I'm glad that they're doing all this stuff. And let's not forget about Suicide Squad. And James Gunn, right? And
Hmm.
so it's just it's a mess. Like it's a mess. Like I want to get excited about all this stuff, um, but
And
it's
there's a
hard.
Wonder Woman 3 coming out.
Yeah, it's hard not to look at this and be like, well, what's the overall story here? We're so used to Marvel giving us this huge plan and this huge story. We had the original movies from Marvel, 20 movies, a 20 movie saga that led up to Avengers Endgame, and it was amazing. Uh, but we're not going to get that with DC. We're not going to get that with Warner Brothers. And it's, I don't know, I just shake my head. We're going to have some great movies, uh, and we're going to have some terrible movies, and none of them are going to tie together. I feel like or maybe some of them will, and then some of them won't. Like say we get another Joker 2
Hmm.
with Joaquin Phoenix, but he'll never go into this new the Batman series. And like I said, we'll get a new Batman, and it's like,
You
we're
know
not
what?
getting
Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry. I didn't
we're
cut
not
you off.
getting Jared Leto's Batman. I mean, or
I'm sure he's
Joker.
done. I'm
Yeah,
sure
he's
he's
got to
done.
be done. He's gonna do a Morbius now, right?
Well, I mean,
So
even if he wasn't doing Morbius, I just don't even see where he would fit these days.
right. they're
right?
just so drastically different. I mean, at
Hmm.
this point, you might as well bring Mark Hamill into it to be the
Yeah.
Joker.
And
You know?
realistically, we haven't talked about it as well. There's probably going to be another Birds of Prey movie. I know it didn't do as great as they were expecting, but I don't know about you. I liked it personally. I just wondering there's going to be something Harley Quinn related, right? I'll just say it that way. It might not
Right.
be Suicide Squad. It might be her own thing. You never know. But you're right. They're not. I am of the ilk that like, look, it's obvious these things shouldn't connect. So keep it that way. But Harley Quinn is tied to Suicide Squad, which is tied to Batman, which is tied to whatever.
Hmm.
Aquaman and Flash are tied to the Justice League and Wonder Woman and blah blah blah. So eventually they got to come out and explain everything. But like you said, Warner Brothers isn't about that life. They're just like, hey, here's a new DC movie, take it or leave it. And then they
Right.
just keep it moving. And a part of me isn't mad about that, but I wish they would, if they're not gonna like, maybe it's the fact that we keep on assuming that they're gonna go the Marvel route. But Warner Brothers needs to officially say, hey, we're not doing that anymore. These movies, and these movies are that. We don't even get that. We just usually get, here's a new movie coming out. And like remember we heard before Joaquin Phoenix's Joker came out, like, hey, there's gonna be a Joker movie. And you're like, okay, how's that gonna work?
Hmm.
And then it wasn't until it came out that you're like, oh, okay. But there was nothing in between to tell you, like, hey, is this tied to the universe? Is it not? Hey, what about Jared Leto? No one came out and said anything, right? And just kind of left us in the dark. And
Right.
so that's what makes this super annoying. But
You know what would be interesting for DC and Warner Brothers to do
mhm,
would be to do like what Marvel did with the What If series, and they had the Watcher. Okay,
mm,
so imagine they did that for DC, and they had this guy who's narrating in the background, right? And he is saying, okay, here in this universe, what if blah 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 Batman was young in year one, and you
mhm.
got Selena Kyle, and you've got the Penguin,
Something
and
to help tie everything all
right,
together.
and so you got that universe, and then but over in this universe, you got Black Adam and Shazam, and over in this universe, you got the Flash and him trying to save his mom and Flashpoint and so on, and over this universe, you got the Black Superman and the Snyderverse and whatever, and
Mhm.
they just did that for all of them, and then that way you can go later on and be like, you know what? Now we can go and say, hey, we have all these universes and they're all colliding together,
Mhm.
and that's kind of like what happened, at least in the comics, after the New 52. We had Rebirth, and you had like the dark multiverse, where all these storylines happened, and it's colliding with like the light multiverse, and so maybe they could do something with that. That to me would kind of makes sense. If you're just going to keep putting out these random movies that don't tie together, at least have a character that ties them all together as, hey, look, this is the multiverse for DC. Okay? We have all these different stories, but they're not tied together, they're just different universes. In Marvel, it's like an infinite number. Um, but in DC, it's literally it's literally 52 universes, right? And
Yeah.
so um why not just do something like that? And then when you finally get your shit together, okay, you know what? We're gonna tie this all in together.
You know
We're gonna
what's Yeah, sorry to cut you off, but I just thought about something. You know what? DC ain't gonna do shit. And the only reason I say that is because I'm thinking about it, right? Because while you were talking, I looked up Tanahasi Coates' Black Superman, right? There hasn't been one article about it since February 2021.
Mhm.
And then it got me thinking about, remember when Ava DuVernay and Tom King were gonna do New Gods,
Right.
right? And then it suddenly got canceled. To me, that just tells me they don't know what the fuck they're doing. right? I think they keep on throwing shit at the wall to see what is going to make us interested,
Hmm.
and then they kind of throw it out there and see what happens. But it just seems like that. I know Jeff Johns got released, and there's all type of other stuff going on, but they just don't seem to have any type of game plan. Are they trying to even fix it
Right.
to correct the ship or whatever you want to call it? It's just like, hey, we'll just keep on pumping out superhero movies because the money's getting good,
Hmm.
but we're not going to even, like you said, how come we haven't seen Darkseid yet, other than the Justice League movie?
Right.
It ain't gonna happen. It seems, and if it does, it'd be like in a Superman movie, which they got rid of Henry Cavill. So then, but I will say, and this is kind of off the subject, and I'll let you go back to your point, Mike. Since you saw Internals, didn't my man look like he would make a good Superman? The guy was flying around shooting things out of his eyes.
Oh yeah. 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 Icarus. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, you could always recast Superman. Uh, I don't think that they should. I mean, Henry Cavill has always said, like, I want to finish that story. Um, to me, he's been the best Superman since our boy Christopher Reeve. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
we won't talk about Adam
certainly,
Roth,
certainly better than yeah, Brandon Ralph. Yeah.
Brenda Roth. Yeah.
My God. Um, so uh, you know, I don't know, man. It just sucks. We're getting all
Hmm.
these movies and they're not going to tie together because there's no leadership at the top, right? So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm glad that with all that said about DC and Warner Brothers, I am glad that they're still, like you said, just seeing what sticks. All right.
Hmm.
Um, to see Dwayne the Rock Johnson as Black Adam, I think is going to be a great experience.
How many years
Um,
ago did they announce that?
it was a minute ago,
Yeah.
it was like Ryan Reynolds and trying to be Deadpool, right?
Hmm.
And so I think it's going to be worth it. I think it'll be worth it. I love Dwayne Johnson as an actor. Yes, he has movies that are hit or miss. I think this one will be a hit. So, and like you said, I mean, from that teaser that we got, that brief 15, 20 seconds of what we got, it looks really good.
Give me a
So,
trailer.
yeah,
Give me a
give me
trailer.
a trailer. I'll watch the
Hmm.
trailer, and then that's it. Um, I'm good to go. I wish that they would tie it into everything else. I know it's not going to happen. That's fine. Whatever. Uh,
Hmm.
the Batman, it's like the animated stuff. DC did great with the animated stuff. I loved Batman Year One.
Hmm.
Uh, one of the greatest animated movies to me, hands down. And so I hope the Batman is kind of like that. I hope that all these movies are kind of like that. I'm not excited for Aquaman. I'll be honest. I've had time to think about the original Aquaman movie. Yeah, you know. So I'm not too excited about it. I like Jason Momoa. He's just not been in too many great movies,
Hmm.
So I loved Suicide Squad, the James Gunn version. Um, I loved. I should say I loved Suicide Squad. I liked Suicide Squad. I love Peacemaker.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, that's fine. They just keep coming out with stuff. That's fine. It's whatever. I just got to change my perception of what DC and Warner Brothers are doing. It's not
Hmm.
like Marvel, where Marvel is tying in TV shows and movies together. I just got to look at Marvel or DC as these are just one shots, and I just got to live with that,
Yep.
and I just got to be fine with that.
Yeah. No, I think you hit around the head. The perspective has to change. We keep on trying to play comparison. I don't think. I think. I think Disney slash Marvel is playing chess, and Warner Brothers DC is playing checkers. And I don't mean that any way of malice. It's just the way that they pump out material is completely different. And Peacemaker itself, like you said, great show, but it also confuses even more because then you don't know how that Suicide Squad universe works, and all these other things. So I won't get too deep into that. But before we end, Mike, is there anything that you are watching or reading that you want to talk about? So I'll start off. I showed you I texted you earlier in the week. I went by my LCS because I am on the hunt for a spinning rack. So
Mm,
I'm on the way of going digital for most of my comic book needs as well. But before I do, I either want to procure a spinner rack or just some sort of display shelf for my issues that are near and dear to my heart before I start giving away a majority of my collection. So
mhm,
while I was there, the LCS had an awesome display for Black History Month. They had the John Lewis books run, and there's another one I can't remember part two of it. It escapes me right now, but they had that one as well. And but they also had the Milestone Compendium Volume One, which had Hardware, Static Shock, and all of the characters of Milestone. And by the way, earlier this week they did announce that a Blood Syndicate book, which I'm not familiar with, because like I've mentioned before, when Milestone came out before, it was right at the heat of when Image Comics was around, and I went with Image. But I am correcting that because, as we know, there's a limited amount of African American creators out there who have gotten a lot of have gotten the 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 visuals of everybody, or just even eyes. Like Static Shock should have a movie by now. Let's be real,
right,
right?
right.
But it just hasn't happened yet. And that, at DC, if you want to do something, let's go ahead and get that Static Shock movie. Because guess what? You talk about coming to the theater, boy, it's gonna be like Black Panther all over for me.
Mhm,
Because Static Shock, the TV show, um, even with Little Romeo doing the intro, it was one of them things where it was just like, oh man, Static Shock is out there,
mhm,
and so it's very near and dear to my heart, even though and it was Dwayne McDuffie made him real, where he was going through some true high school stuff. So I'm super excited to read those issues again. But that compendium is huge. I don't know how many pages it is. It cost me about $50. Well worth it. Number one, to support my LCS. Number two, to support the creators of Milestone, the Dwayne McDuffie estate, and all the other creatives who had something to do with that book. I'm super excited to dig in deep. I haven't got but maybe like an issue in. I'm reading Hardware right now because he has a Iron Man feel to him, even though there's some differences and there's some similarities. So I'm super excited for that. The only other thing that I can say that I'm really excited to sink my teeth into is finishing up Book of Boba, Peacemaker this week. I know there's something that's escaping my head right now, and but there's just so much stuff out there that something has to drop off. Mike, is there anything you're excited for this week?
Yeah, so like you said, Book of Boba Fett. Definitely check out that season finale episode. Same thing with Peacemaker. Check out that season finale episode. I'm certainly going to check those out this weekend. And not that this is sci-fi related, but I mentioned this in our last episode. Uh, the the Reacher TV show on Amazon Prime. If you're looking for something different, if you're looking for, I know people have seen the Reacher movie with Tom Cruise, and it was a decent movie. Uh, Check out the TV show. It blows the movie out of the water. It's just a great show. Also, Resident Alien. I've been hyping this TV show up on Sci-Fi for a minute, and it's so good. It's got Alan Tudyk in there, and Alan Tudyk has been in everything. It's a great show. Definitely check that out. I personally am actually trying to get into. the Star Wars Marvel books again, only because Marvel is actually they're transitioning the Star Wars stories back to Dark Horse, which I find interesting. So I'm actually going back to the beginning with my Marvel Unlimited subscription and starting at the beginning. And I want to go through these stories because I never have, and I want to. And I've read mostly the Darth Vader ones, which are really good.
They are good.
And so I want to go back to the beginning because they've had very good writers on them, and
The art's phenomenal too from the
yeah,
ones that are.
yeah. And so I'm looking forward to getting into that stuff. As far as anything else going on, at least for me, I am I'm getting so close to finalizing my plans for my quote unquote command center.
Mhm.
And I'm so close. You had mentioned the turnstile spinny for comics, and I don't know why this is such a hard thing to acquire. um it's just a hard thing. Nobody's making it. You gotta basically find like outlets or people going out of business that have them and are selling them on eBay or Marikai or Etsy or whatever.
Mike, you know what's funny about that? There was a guy who did a Kickstarter like 2 years ago
Mhm.
for spinning racks, and I was trying to work out a way to get one mailed to Hawaii, and he was like, "Yeah, we're working on the next batch right now." And then I went on his Twitter page, and he was like, "So the last rack went out. We're done doing this. We're moving on to the next project." I was like, "Damn it!"
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't understand why this is such a hard thing to acquire.
yeah, yeah.
Especially in the world of 3D printing.
Hmm.
Like I almost want to buy it. I want to buy a 3D printer just so I can make that.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm getting close to finalizing my plans for this command center. And one of the features that I have for this are my Funko Pops. Back in the day, you and I were looking at like the uh I can't remember the name of the company, but they had the huge statuettes.
Oh,
Cost like
Hot Toys
Hot
and
Toys, yeah.
yep. Hmm.
Getting those statues or whatever are cool, but they're like $300 or $400 for a decent one. Um, I can't justify that with my family.
Yeah, yeah.
If I was a young buck, oh my god, I can't believe I just said
I
that.
saw an X-Men statue the other day that was amazing, and then I saw the price, which was $1,200,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
couldn't justify it, but
hell no.
I respect it. I'm glad to see it get its shine, but damn it, the price
Yeah.
is something
No.
else.
So I've gone to the Funko Pop way. I have been snatching up Funko Pop like crazy. I've gotten a limited edition Scarlet Witch. I just got a limited edition Ironheart one. So I'm constantly looking out for these significant Funko Pops, and I'm not the kind of guy to keep them in a box. I feel that me personally is kind of pointless. Um, so they're all unboxed. So I've got a ton of them. I just got the T'Challa uh Star Lord Funko from the Marvel What If series, which was pretty dope. I love that one. And so I'm working on a display for that. And so you know, fingers crossed, y'all. This summer, the command center will be set up. I will be streaming or making videos where you can actually see my face. Um, Again this summer. So that's what's going on for me. We got Star Wars, Marvel comics going on. We got Resident Alien going on Sci-Fi Channel, and then, like I said, if y'all haven't seen Reacher, please do. It's really good. If you want to put a sci-fi twist to it, it's got Aquaman and Lana Lane from Smallville in there. So
Awesome. Mike, you know what? We forgot to talk about it, so I'm just going to bring this up real quick here at the end since you mentioned Marvel. But we got news today that all of the Marvel Netflix shows are going to be leaving leaving Netflix
oh yeah,
on
yeah.
March 1st.
Yeah.
And then even though I didn't see it until later, also the Agent of Shield show will be leaving Netflix on March 1st as well.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it doesn't really say in an article where it's going, but we all know where it's going. It's going to either Hulu or Disney Plus. I really see the the Netflix shows going to Hulu. I don't see
Yep.
them going to Disney Plus.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, as far as Agents of Shield, I will probably also say Hulu as well. I think they don't want any confusion in all that stuff, so might as well go ahead and put it that way. The universe is still connect and stuff like that. Um, this is not a shocker. You know, you remember there was like 2 years where they couldn't even use those characters after that Netflix deal was done, and stuff like that. And you know, at first we were all complaining like, "Oh, them 2 years. That's 2 years." And them 2 years went so fast, and now they're already slowly starting to implement those characters back. That you're like, "Oh, okay. Well, this kind of makes sense." So, any quick thoughts on that?
Yeah, I at first I panicked because I was like, "Oh no, I literally just started watching Daredevil again." And I've watched Jessica Jones. I haven't finished Daredevil. Uh, I've watched The Defenders. I haven't finished Luke Cage. I haven't finished The Punisher. Um, and it's just, when those shows were coming out, Jessica Jones I finished because there was only what 2 seasons. Uh, but because all those shows were coming out towards the end of Marvel's final phases of movies, it was a lot, to focus on. And so I didn't get to watch everything, and I wanted to. Iron Fist. I think I did watch all the Iron Fist and was still very disappointed by it. So um, I'm really
Was there any
hoping.
improvements in the second season
No,
compared?
no,
Okay,
no.
all right,
Uh,
got it.
I think that's Iron Fist to me. It was just terribly casted. Um, and I think Iron Fist's little psychic, the female chick, was the best part of the show.
Mm,
Because she actually looked like she knew what she was doing. She was a better martial artist than Iron Fist himself,
yep,
which was
I
sad.
always heard that.
Yeah,
Yep.
which was sad. But with that said, we already got Charlie Cox and Daredevil back in the MCU. We've already got Vincent D'Onofrio and the Kingpin back in the MCU. Uh, will Michael Coulter and Luke Cage come back? I don't know. I think so. I don't know because he's got stuff. He's got other stuff going on. Because
Hmm.
he's got his own show on CBS or on Paramount Plus called Evil, which is, if y'all are into supernatural stuff, check out. It's pretty good. Um, so I don't know. John Berthal, is he going to come back as the Punisher? I think so. Yeah, for sure.
You
Because
know
he ain't
what? The Punisher is is an interesting situation because of all of the I'll just say all the political stuff going on with the Punisher right now.
hmm
I am a bit curious to see if he'll be back on the small screen.
I think he will. I don't know if he'll have a dedicated show. Uh, I think he'll be back in the MCU as far as cameos go, for
Yeah,
sure.
I can see that.
I
I can
I, I
see that.
think he will be back in as far as the MCU goes, as far as because he perfectly casted for that role,
Hmm.
perfectly casted. He's just when I think of Punisher, I don't think of gosh, I can't think of the guy's name from Punisher Max or your boy from The Expanse
There
that
was
played Buzz
Thomas
Strokes.
Jane,
Thomas Jane, yep.
and then
So
there was I don't remember the other gentleman's name.
yeah,
He played
but
it. He played it well. Just the story fell off.
yeah, and
Hmm.
I and, it, and that was more like the Punisher Max, I think,
Yeah.
version of it. And so I think Berthal was perfect because
Hmm.
he just so like aggressive, but he was broken, and he had all these aspects to him, and you're just like, man, yeah, Berthal is perfect for it. So quick little thing, so Charlie Cox, I just actually it always blows my mind every time I see these actors talk in their normal voice is not an American. He's either Australian or European. I can't remember. And I'm like, damn,
I want to
another
say he's
one.
Irish. I
Or
want to say he's
Irish. Yeah.
Irish. Yep.
Yeah.
Because I
Um,
remember him from he was in a TV show, Boardwalk Empire, before
oh
he was in
yeah,
before
yeah.
Daredevil. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you know, I think eventually we'll get these shows on Hulu. We're not going to see them disappear and never come back again. I think the real question is, will we see them in the MCU?
Hmm.
Jessica Jones, I actually think they said is coming back to the MCU. Now that I think about it,
Mm.
uh, which would be great. And so you think if they bring back Jessica Jones, they got to bring back Luke Cage because those two characters are intertwined together.
Yeah.
And so they'll come back in their cameos. And then Charlie Cox as the Daredevil. That's going to be interesting what they do with him. And then, of course, Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin, I think is going to be interesting. The more interesting thing is how are they going to recast Iron Fist?
Mm.
Uh, because they're most certain they're not bringing that dude back for Iron
No.
Fist. So they got to recast it. So I think they've learned. I think Marvel would have learned their lesson. Okay, we got to get a guy that can actually do martial arts.
Hmm.
So I think they'll do right by it. That was one of the rare instances that Marvel fucked up and
We're gonna
didn't
talk about the
cast right.
Eternals.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I'm going to be binging these shows for the next month before they go off because, like I said, I want to finish watching Daredevil. I feel like I've been watching it again now, and I feel like I've missed stuff. I'm like, oh my god, I don't remember this from the first time I watched it through. Same thing with Luke Cage and Punisher. I'm not going
Hmm.
to do Defenders or Iron Fist again, or Jessica Jones because I have already watched Jessica Jones. But most certainly Daredevil and Luke Cage and the Punisher. Those are ones that I'm going to try and binge and get through because I'm not sure when they're going to come to. I would assume they're going to be on Hulu.
Yeah, and we don't know when they're gonna come out either. Like they just said, "Hey, this is gone," but they'll eventually be back. But we just don't know when. So I'm sure there's some things to be worked out behind the scenes, and then they'll have it available for us. Who knows? I hope they don't like just put them in a closet and just like, hey, it's been 3 years, or the master plan. Hey, this movie's coming out. Let's go ahead and drop these shows again because we're going to be reintroducing these characters to the world. So, but we are going to stop here this week. I want to thank you again for appearing for another episode 6, y'all. We're almost back to double digits, which is kind of cool. I think we stopped on episode 29 previously, so it's going to be an exciting day when we finally get back to episode 30 and so on and so on. So just want to say thank you for tagging along. You have a great week, everybody, and we will see you next week.